Hello and welcome to Block-Based Programming in Scratch by Codivate. This is Lesson 4. Last class we learned how to read code, and today I'm going to explain that writing code is actually the same process as reading code, but done in reverse. So instead of taking a program and figuring out its output, you take a desired output and figure out a program to make it. So I'll show you an example in real life. So let's say we have a dish, mac and cheese, and we're trying to make a recipe to make that dish. So we need to think of discrete steps that are ordered to create mac and cheese. So try to think of one. Maybe you thought of one like boil a macaroni and then mix it with cheese. And that's actually not specific enough. The reason why it's not specific enough is because I can ask you, how much water should I use? How long should I cook it for, and things like that. So you need to make the steps more specific. How specific, you might ask? Well, the key thing is that everyone who follows your recipe should end up with the exact same macaroni and cheese. That's how specific it needs to be. Now that might sound like a very specific amount when you're talking about mac and cheese, but when you're talking about a program, it's not that hard. So, here's one recipe. Boil 1 cup of macaroni in 1 cup of water for 5 minutes. Separate the water from the macaroni and put it in a bowl. Mix 1/2 cups of cheese with the macaroni. Remember, every time someone makes this, it should be exactly the same. So, I wrote down the exact amounts of everything and how long you should do those things for. Now, obviously people won't be perfect and make all the macaroni and cheese the exact same way. But if a robot did this, maybe they would. Another example is this. How would you write instructions that would write down a word? So let's say we're writing the word apple. Remember, something specific enough that everyone would do it the same way and get the same thing. And it needs to have a list of steps to do in order. Okay? Here. Alright. So the answer is that we know the word apple is just 5 separate letters. So we can tell the computer to write down each letter one by one. So step 1 is write A, step 2 is write P, and so on. You just keep going until you've written the entire word. So now we are going to move on to Scratch. And here we have a program that's just a GIF of the Scratch cat. That's our output. That's what the program does. And we have to figure out what the program is for this cat. So, hint is, you see the moment the green flag is clicked, a speech bubble appears. So, we can deduce that the first block has to be a say hello block, because the cat says the word hello. Alright? So then, what happens after the cat says hello? Well, right when the speech bubble disappears, we see that the cat inches forward a bit. So, we have 2 different blocks that can do that. It's either move forward, or it's change x by. Now, it doesn't really matter which one you pick, because they both do the same thing in this case. So, you're right both ways. And then after it moves the first time, there's a pause, and then it moves a second time and a third time. So, since it's doing the same thing those second and third times, you would just have the same block again. So, here is the answer. We have say hello, like we said we would, and then we had a move, and then a pause, and then 2 more of those. Now, a key thing to notice here is that these last 6 blocks here are actually just repeating 2 blocks 3 times. That's an important thing to notice. So, if you want to read this, if you want to translate this in English to someone who doesn't know Scratch, you would just say, the cat will say hello, and then move forward 3 times with pauses in between. And that's it. Alright, another example is this. So, the first thing you want to think about is, what does the cat do immediately when the green flag is clicked? And we notice that the cat immediately inches forward. So the first block has to be a move forward block, or a change x by block, either one. Then there's a pause before it does the next thing, so we know there's a wait block after that. And then the cat turns. So, I mean, there are two blocks that turn, but we're going to pick the simpler one, just the turn block. So this will just turn the cat 90 degrees. So we have the turn 90 degree block after the wait block. And then the cat waits again, and then turns another time in the same direction. So it's two turn blocks. Then what happens after the cat turns twice? It inches backwards. Well, that's actually going to be the same block as before. Before it was move 10 steps. It's actually going to be move 10 steps again this time, even though it's moving the opposite direction, because the cat is facing backwards. So move forward means the direction the cat's facing. And here, we have that move 30 steps we said. Wait 1 second, and then it turns 90 degrees twice. Then it moves again. So if we look at it, here's the move. Turn 90, move. There. Okay, now I have the third example. We have, what are each of the steps of the cat in order? Okay, so the moment the green flag is clicked, the cat has a speech bubble. So the first block has to be speech bubble block. And then the next thing that it does right when the speech bubble is removed is the cat slides along the screen. So we only know of one block that can make the cat slide across the screen, and that's the glide block. So there has to be a glide block right after the speech block. So, and we see that after that happens, nothing else happens. The program's over. So it's really just two blocks. And if we look, it is just two blocks. It's, say I'm going to do the moonwalk and then glide. Now, these numbers you could have also figured out by seeing where the cat goes. We notice that it goes to the left. Like, if this is the center 0, 0, it goes to the left of here. So we know that it's going to be some negative number in the x. And we don't really know what the y number was, because we can't see exactly in pixels. But it was somewhere near the middle, so we just chose 0. Alright, so now we have exercises. I think we have 6 of them. So, same thing as the examples, except you're doing it. So, watch this, try to figure out what the program is. I'll show you. Alright, so the answer is that it says something, then it glides, then it waits, and then it glides again. So, if we look, this is the say, this is the glide, waiting, and then gliding again. Next one. So, this is a very long amount of code, but it's actually very repetitive. So it's moving 3 times. It's just repeating that 3 times. Then it turns around, and then it moves 3 times again. So look. Moves 1, 2, 3. Turns 1, 2, 3. And that's it. It's following this. Alright. This one's a little tricky. So it's moving 3 times, but the time between each move is, like, uneven. So, try to guess what this is. It's actually this. So the first move is followed by 1 second. The second move is followed by 1/5 of a second. And then the third move ends the program. So look. 1 second, 1/5 of a second in between the second 2. This one. So, there are 2 speech blocks here because the speech changes. And then nothing else happens. So, it's just 2 speech blocks. That's it. This one might be a little tricky. Notice that the cat always goes to the same place, regardless of where it started from. And it seems to be only 1 step, because nothing happens after it gets to this place. So, it is just go to 0, 0, and 0, 0 is the center. This is very similar to the other one. And it's just glide 1 second, 200. So it's the same thing as the other one, but with a glide instead of a goto. And that's all for today's lesson. Thank you very much.